Hey gamers, today we're going to review Coney Island. Let's check it out. Setup is fairly easy. What you're going to do is take your little score markers, put them right here on Coney Island. You're going to draw 4 random tiles, place them in the middle. Any of these green tiles are just spots where they can't place performers or anything on there. And then each player is going to get their own little player board, and it's going to look like this. And you're going to put in, you see there's some of these shaded areas here. That's where you're going to put in your performers. You got 3 circled ones, 3 half circled ones, and 3 squares. And of course, you see the shapes there will tell you which one goes where. You're also going to get $2 in the game, and then each player will randomly draw a cube from this overly sized bag. There are only 2 colors of cubes, red and white. So for this example, let's say they drew a red. And then the players are going to assign someone to go first. That person will get the top hat, and you are ready to play. You got your character cards here, your money pile there. There's a few ride tiles. This edition I got came with a little promo ride token. This does not come in the base game. The Ferris wheel is like a individual promo tile. But anyway, you have the newspaper stacks here, and then you are ready to go. So on your turn, what you're going to do, looking at this player board, is remember all these would be covered as you see here. And on the top of each trailer is what you're going to receive. So each player would start off with 1 victory point, $1 more, and getting to draw an extra cube from the bag here. So each player would get a point, everyone would draw an extra $1, and then of course they would get to draw another cube from the bag. And let's say this time he chose a white. All right. Well, at the bottom of the player board, it then tells each player what your 3 actions are. You get up to 3 actions, and the first one is buying a land tile. So let me talk to you about that. All you have to do is just pick one of the top land tiles and then put it anywhere here on the board and pay the money that's marked on the board here. And money is like land is like $1 or $2. So let's say if I wanted to place it, this one's a clean one here, so I can place it anywhere I want. If I place it here, I pay $1 and get nothing. But as you see, there are some icons on here where if you played over it, you would receive that reward as well. So for instance, you can get a random cube from the bag, or if it doesn't have a question mark on it, a cube of your choice, red or white. Or you can get victory points, or this little emblem, which means an extra bonus action, because a lot of these actions, all these actions, you can only do once per turn. However, if you have a bonus action, you may do one of these actions twice. So for instance, if I paid for this, covered it over here, and got an extra bonus action, I could, if I had enough money, pay and do this action again since I had that bonus action there. So anyway, that's one thing you can do. Another action you can be is put out one of your performers. So as you see here, I got circled performers, half circle performers, and square performers. And what you're going to do is you're going to look at the trailer, the side of their trailer, and that's going to tell you the cost. So the cost of getting rid of the circle performers is going to be 1 red cube, half circle would be a white and a red, and a square would be 2 whites and a red. So in this example, I have a white and a red. I could let a half circle go, but let's say I just paid a red, and so I put the red back into the bag, and I'd bring out this little circle performer, and I could put him anywhere on the board where there are tiles, but not over any of the green spots here. So I placed him like so. Now, if I had an extra action, I could do this move twice, but I couldn't, so I can only do it once. But that's one thing you can do. Now, the more you remove here, and as you see here, here's with all of them removed. So the more removed, that means the next turn, I'm going to get 2 victory points. $1 and a cube of my choice, because see, I have an open blank spot there. So the more performers you have out here, the more stuff you're generating, either points or money or extra cubes. And then of course, as you see, if you can get rid of all the squares, you even get a bonus action at the end of your turn too. So these are cubes of your choice as well. So it's very powerful. The more performers you have out there, the more income you'll be getting every round. But that's not the way to score the big points. The big points are on this third action. it's putting out one of these attractions there. Now, the attractions come in various points and everything, and you have to pay certain cubes. The cubes are marked here. So if I had a red and 2 whites, and of course I'd have to have 2 performers out here. So let's say I got another one out, and I had those 2 performers out there. Well, I could lay this tile on top of them and get some big points. How many points? Well, first off, you see it says 1. That means they all have to be of the same color. Sometimes it says, hey, you can place them over 2 different colors if you want to. That means what the 1 plus is. So let's say maybe I wasn't here, but blue did have something there, and I really wanted to play one. I couldn't play that over it because it has to be one single color. This can be 1 or 2 colors. And then later on, some of them say, hey, it has to be 2 different colors to place this attraction. And so that's kind of how you read that. Now, how you would score points is, let's say I played this one. Well, first off, it'd have to be both of mine, so 2 oranges there. And I would play this over these 2. I'm going to get a couple of points here. First off, I'm going to get 4 victory points for playing this. Plus, the question mark means, how many victory points did you place this over? Because each one of these performers can be worth 1, 2, or as squares are, 3 victory points in the game. So depending on if I put this over 2 square pieces, that's 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 4 would be 10 points. Ooh! But I did 4 plus 2 plus 1, so that gave me 7 points in the game, and I'm already in the lead. So that's kind of how and then of course these 2 performers would go right back on your player board. So you would get less resources, but you would be able to score some buku points. Now, just to show you something else, another rule in the game is when placing your performers, if you place 4 like this in a square, they don't have to be the same square. Heck, I could have placed them all around here. But if you have a 2 by 2, then that means as long as you keep them on the board like that, you're going to get a bonus 2 victory points every round, which is really neat, but kind of hard to do because, like I said, players will know if you're trying to attempt to do this or not. But anyway, let's move on. Let's look at some extra actions you can take that aren't major actions. They're like minor actions. You can do them as many times as you want. One would be to buy one of these character cards. And buying one of these character cards will enable you to do different things in the game. For instance, if you pay $1 here, he'll give you 2 victory points. Now, you can only use them once per turn. If you've used him once, you have to flip him over to show he's been used. On the next round, you can flip him back over and use him again for that round. And that goes for all of these. This one, if you pay $1, you get a cube of you get to draw a cube from the bag. This guy, he'll let you exchange red for white cubes or white for red cubes, whatever you need. This guy, the policeman, for a victory point, if I went down a victory point, I could grab another cube, random cube from the bag. And finally, you got the reporter. If you pay any type of cube back to the bag, you get a newspaper. You start with getting pulling the red newspapers first and then the white ones. These are extra victory points at the end of the game. Reds can be 2 or 3 victory points, and whites will be 1 or 2 victory points. But newspapers can also be cashed in during the game. Instead, if you don't want those victory points, cash them in, and as you can see, you can get a bonus action. So maybe 2 victory points aren't worth it, but if I got a bonus action, I could really start rocking it. So you have to decide what you want to do with these newspapers. It's really cool. Now, if someone grabs a character that you really want, well, on your turn, you can buy it. See, because on the back, you see it has the $2. It can be bought from that character. Now, you don't give them the money that you paid for it. The money would just go back into the pool, but you can buy any of these performers here from any other player if you want to use them or not. But they're always available to all players, and each player can use them once per round. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be placing out these little land tiles. You're going to be placing out your performers. You're going to be placing attractions over those performers and scoring victory points. And the game's going to end in one of 2 ways. Either you're going to get down to one last attraction in there, or, and this is usually how it always ends, someone passes the 60 mark. Now, once someone passes 60, you finish out the round, like all the players get to finish that round, and then you count up your victory points. You're going to count up any newspapers that people have left over at the end of the game, and you're going to subtract any performers you have that are still out here. So at the end of the game, performers can really hurt you. So for instance, if this was the end of my game, and let's say I had maybe 2 newspapers, I would get 4 points there. And let's say I passed the 60 here, and blue was here, and I went 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, now I have to subtract all of the extra performers I have out, and the extra performers I have out He's a 2, he's a 1, he's a 1, that's 4, 5, 6, 7. So then I go down 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you don't want extra performers out at the end of the game. But after everyone takes away their points, adds up any newspaper points, whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. Final thoughts, what do I think about the game? You know, I picked this game up for pretty cheap online on an auction. I thought, it looks kind of neat. And man, this game surprised me. It's actually pretty cool because, of course, you want all your, performers out there because you're getting tons of income, but you got to be careful where you place them. Will you be able to put attractions over them because you don't want to have too many of them out because you'll get negative points at the end of the game. Plus, getting those newspapers. You think, oh, I'll save all the newspapers. But then there comes a time you're like, doggone it, I wish I could put an extra performer out. Or I wish you could put one more tile out. Or, oh, I really need to do this. You're going to cash in that newspaper. I love it. I love the game. It's really cool. One of the complaints we initially had about this game was that it didn't have enough land tiles in it. There's not enough land tiles to cover that board. Not probably even half the board. And there's not enough attractions to place all over everything. You're like, why can't we have some more tiles or some more, more attractions so we can place over these and get more points? Well, no, it's designed perfectly not to allow you to get over 80 points. I don't think you can get 80 points in this game. The closest we ever came is the very first game we played, I got to 78. And I've never seen anything close to the 70 cents. So I think it has just the right amount of tiles to place out land tiles and attraction tiles. Yes, the game goes by quick, it seems, at the end. At first you're moving pretty slowly, and then everything starts rolling, then it's over, you're like, no, we need some more turns, but there are no more tiles, and no, it's fine, it's fine. It's a great game. It's a super fun game. Is it worth your time? Yeah, I think so. It's pretty cheap online, so if you think you'd like something like this, it's very strategic in a way, but very simple all the same. Anyway, folks, that's all the time I have for now. Until next time, game on.